So, Coby, we were talking one time earlier about you always going at it with the Northerners, it seems, and you remembered a story about how you called a green light on them from the county jail in Cocoa County, and you green lighted them in San Quentin. Can you walk us through that? Everything that happened?
Yeah, they had so in our county jail for years, the Southsiders were in the hole, and the Northerners were on the line. And so while I was fighting my case, the Northerners had slashed a white dude while he was sleeping, and that kicked it off with us and them. I was already at it with them down in the hole in the county jail. Any chance I got, we got into it with them. But up on the main line, they programmed, coexisted peacefully until that happened. And when that happened, it was just on site. Period. Didn't matter if it was in court or court holding or intake or wherever it was. It was just on and cracking with the whites and the Northerners. So so what they ended up doing was taking all the Northerners off the line and putting them in one module in Martinez, which was A module, and then they ended up putting the Southsiders out of AdSeg into general population C and B pod modules. And so we went at it for quite some time, and eventually I ended up sending word to San Quentin with some of my homeboys. One of them, my homeboy Matt Jagger, he ended up getting killed up at High Desert. But I sent word with him to kick it off here with the Northerners. So I know Adam Renfro is the one that kicked it off first. And we got into it a few times here with them, and then ended up squashing it after 2 or 3 incidents from the prison. But in the county jail, it was on site all the way up until and after I left in 2017. It was still on site with the Northerners, and they had them all put in one module, A module, by themselves.
And what was the reason they slashed the white guy when he was sleeping? And that wasn't in AdSeg where you were, right?
No, it was up on one of the GP modules. Uh, I'm not sure. I don't remember what the reasoning was. I think they tried to say that he had bullied a Northerner or something, and it was Big Manny was the white dude's name, and so he was the trustee. So his door was open, and when they had, so his door got to stay open. So he had fed breakfast and then went in his cell and went back to sleep with the door open, and 3 Northerners went in there while he was sleeping and spliced him.
Damn. And would they slice his face, or how bad was it?
Yeah, they sliced his face. The dude that sliced him ended up getting killed at Salinas Valley. Smokey, he was
Okay.
one of the ones that sliced him, and he ended up getting killed when he got to Salinas Valley.
Okay. Well, I'll ask about that in a minute. So you were fighting with them in AdSeg. Why were you going at it with them in AdSeg?
It was well, ever since the early '90s. I rode with the Southsiders. They had my back, I had theirs. So they were on site with the Southsiders when, in the early '90s there wasn't that many Southsiders. So there might be 3 or 4 of them in the whole county jail in D module. So it was on site with the Southsiders and Northerners, and just by me having such a close alliance with the Southerners, that got me in it. So it was on site with me too. A lot of the other whites didn't get involved in it at first, but with me, I was in all the way, all the time. I just didn't program with Northerners. If they popped the door, or we was getting off. We'd be cordial behind the door, but if the door opened, it opened. It was nothing personal.
Yep. Yep. Then, as the saying goes, let the door be the bell, right? And
Yeah.
what was it that had you so tight with the Southsiders?
I think because in juvenile hall, we rode together in the Contra Costa juvenile hall, and then even on the streets, there was in Richmond there was so few whites and so few Southerners. We just had a real strong bond and stuck by each other, and I carried that over into the jail and on into prison.
And was that more it was an upstate thing, or was it just Southsiders in general?
No, it was just like in juvenile hall, and before I went to prison, it was all the Southsiders that I knew were from Richmond, or maybe some from Concord here and there. But it wasn't till I went to the pen that I actually started, you know, doing stuff with Southerners that were from down south.
Okay, I understand a little bit more now. And you said that Northerner who slashed Big Manny, right? He ended. What happened to him in Salinas Valley?
His cellie killed him.
Oh shit! So it was a Northerner on Northerner.
Oh yeah, it was Smokey from Pittsburgh.
And do you know the reason why his celly got on him?
I don't.
Okay. And then when you arrived in San Quentin, that green light was still going, and you were full on active in it.
The one I called from the county jail?
Yes.
No, we had ended up recalling it for the prison. I had worked it out with another Northerner that was in my county jail that I actually grew up with to just keep the county jail politics to the county jail. So we still had it. It was on site in our county jail, and then it was also on site in Solano County Jail with the whites and Northerners. But we decided to let that be it, and it ended the incidents in San Quentin.
Okay. And then how? Why is it that the whites seem to have gone at it with the Northerners more than in the group?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's just. I'm not sure. I was always into it with them. So, and a lot of times I would be into it with them, and the other whites, you know, they would still be programming on the modules and stuff with them.
And how does that? That's kind of how does that work? So, if you're getting into it, guys, they had a choice of whether to back you up or not.
Well, I mean, if they were there, they would have to back me up, but it was kind of like just one of them things, like you know, Coby's just being Coby, and I didn't hold no grudge or nothing like that. The problem wasn't a white problem. It was Southsiders and Northerners going at it, and I just inserted myself into that.
Okay, I got you, man. All right, so that's it for this incident. We're going to talk about another one in another episode, so you guys stay tuned for another White on Northerner story.